Hey everyone, it is Zach, and today we're going to look at something a little different than our usual video, and you can actually see my mic wire. This is my computer desk. This is where I do all my editing, and most importantly, I do all of my schoolwork. And by schoolwork, I mean that I'm a teacher who has moved to an all online learning environment, which is a big change and a big challenge, especially with the grade that I work with. I work with first grade students. So I've been spending a lot of time not playing video games. I've been recording the Hope for Master Ball, doing the Pikachu distributions when they come out, and that's about it. So I've been breeding for the new team, and I'm hitting a roadblock where I don't have that much time to hatch eggs to look for competitively viable Pokemon. So I thought that this thing might help. Now, this has been looked at by Austin John Plays. This has been looked up by Bob on Wolf Den. And they have talked about how it can be used for Pokemon. It has different modes here. Let's check the back, actually. There's a Pokemon mode, there's a Fortnite mode, a Zelda mode, and a Mario mode. And then also with an update, I believe there is modes for Animal Crossing. So this device does two things. One, it lets you use any kind of Bluetooth controller with your Switch, including Xbox 360, Wii U Pro, PS4, PS3. I didn't buy it for that. What I did buy is for the Pokemon mode. So we're going to open this up and we're going to take a look at it. Okay. So we get this cable here. This cable is a USB-A to USB-C, and this is primarily used if you want to do something like plug it into your Switch directly, because the device itself is set up to plug into the dock, or with this, you can actually plug it into the bottom of your Switch Lite and use it for your Switch Lite. So if you have a Switch Lite, you can still make use of this. These adapters are pretty standard. I actually have one plugged in to my phone right now, so I can use my actual mic for decent audio. And we check it up here. You want to read the manual, and that can be found on switchup.ca. And just some more thank yous. So I do have to check the firmware to make sure it's up to date, and I do have to make sure that I can get this to work, but here it is. This is the Switch Up Game Enhancer. So I can plug this into my Switch dock and I can see how it helps in Pokemon. And let's get to that. Okay, so the next place you're going to want to go is actually the website, switchup.ca. Here you're going to find the update tool. To get the most out of this, especially for the Animal Crossing features and some of the Pokemon features, you're going to want to make sure that this is up to date. Mine came with, I want to say, 2.2, which was, or maybe 2.6 or something like that, or 2.7, which was like miscellaneous bug fixes. So if you look up, they added support for the Wii U controller and the PS3 controller, and then Pokemon Apricorn farming and the Animal Crossing mode. So if you want to use any of that stuff, you want to make sure your device is up to date. But here you can find videos for controller setups, which I'll talk about my experience with the controller setup in a little, and then the modes. So here is the best place you want to go for the Pokemon ones. You can check out the other ones if you're interested in that, but mainly I bought this for Pokemon. There is options for single release Pokemon if you just want to do a quick button combination to release one Pokemon. And then for the breeding and the shiny hunting, what I'm really interested in is the box release. So this can set it up so you can actually delete multiple boxes, and I will talk about that because that is tricky and you want to make sure you don't delete a box that you don't mean. There is shiny egg chaining, so it will just hatch one egg at a time, which is the method that I've been using the most with this feature. There's watt generators galore. There's den farming, which I don't know how you would actually So from the den farming, it looks like it spawns it, so it's purple, and then it pauses it for you, which is weird. You can do that by yourself. Pretty simple. There's the easy cycle where you can just continuously get eggs and it will move in circles until it's hatched. That's only really good if you have the eggs to begin with. There's the auto confirm, which you can use for the digging brothers, and then you can also use for the fossils to help you get them quickly. Auto spin, auto roto lotto, which is fine, whatever. It's kind of the same with the watt generator. If you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't. There is also box surprise trade, and there is the egg farming and the box egg hatching, which is another method that you could use. I've been using the 1x1 at a time because I can kind of stop it whenever I want. And with the egg farming, it's kind of required for you to have all the eggs beforehand. So you have to do the egg farming and then the box egg hatching, which with the one egg at a time, you can kind of stop it or start it whenever you'd like. I actually prefer that method a little better, but I haven't given this one a try. But yeah, this is where you will go. As you notice, under each one, there is a tutorial video. So if you click on tutorial video, it will show you how to set them up on a YouTube video. And you can also find that for the controller support and all that good stuff. And when it comes to the box release, you are going to want to really watch the box release, because if you don't do it the right way, you might accidentally delete a box of Pokemon that you don't mean to. And the box release video helps you understand how to delete multiple boxes at one time, which is really handy after letting this sit and hatch eggs for a long period of time in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So now that I've kind of talked about where you can go for the resources, I do want to say that most of this stuff I have just written down on a note card. I kind of watched the videos on what I wanted to watch beforehand, and the note card from there shows me just quick shortcuts of what I want to do. So before you plug the Switch up into your dock or connect it to your Switch, you do want to make sure that you go down to settings, and in your controller settings, you want to make sure that the Pro Control wire communication is turned on. It will let you use wired controllers, I guess, and enable you USB charging. If you are plugging in the Pro Controller, this will disable the NFC charging, but if you're using your Pro Controller for this method, you really won't need that option. So once you have that set up, you can plug it in. So let's go ahead and do that. So for this setup, I actually have an Xbox One controller hooked up through micro USB. This is actually one of the older Xbox controllers that is not supported without an adapter. I do connect my Pro Controller fine, but the only problem with that is that I have to resync my Pro Controller with the Switch regularly every time I have to do that. I did try this with the Power A controller, and it didn't work for some reason. So I want to say, if you're using controllers, you can stick with Wii U, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox, or Switch. Just make sure you try to stay near the Pro Controller. So here I am going to go ahead and set up an egg. I did test this out with a Rowlet, and in about 120 eggs, I was able to get a shiny. Let me see if I can find that. It's in here. So there's the Japanese one I used for the Masuda method. And here's the shiny one I got from it. It is hidden ability, so, and it's only missing one IV in special defense, so it can be viable. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a good enough foreign Pokemon to use. Let's just use this Skarmory. So I'm going to go ahead and move the Skarmory into my party, and I think I have to pull out the Dittos. And with using another controller, it's really not that bad, especially the Xbox one, because they feel pretty similar. So as long as you don't look down at the controller and try to like figure out the buttons, yeah, I'm pretty good. So this is how I do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically fill up my party first with eggs. So I'm going to hatch the first 5 on my own. So I'm going to take my rowlet back, and I actually wasn't using the foreign rowlet, but I believe I was using my German Ditto from Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. I still owe Dylan a Clefable that I need to trade for him. Dylan, if you see this, let me know in the comments and we can figure out a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my Ditto box. And what is this Skarmory? It's minus special attack plus defense, so that is fine. So we will move the Destiny Knot. Oh, we don't even have to move the Destiny Knot. So this is my German Ditto. And this is one of my many 6IV Dittos that I got during the Ditto event raids. And I just hunted until I found a 6IV'd one. And I was able to catch multiple ones because I have a second switch. So we'll go ahead and move that in. We'll move this Ditto over here, keep them together. And we need our egg hatching Colossal. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the box. Put these in the daycare. Do Skarmory. And what I'm going to do now is I need to make sure that once these boxes fill up, they're going to go into the empty ones. Why did I keep all these Rowlets? We have 2 boxes to work with. And then I'll start filling up all the other ones. So you want to make sure that you have empty boxes that you can let eggs sit in. So now I'm going to go ahead and collect the first 5 eggs and hatch them. I will say before you do this, you want to make sure that you'll see in some footage that I have set up. If you look at the switch up device, it is a certain light combination to show that 1, it is doing a certain function, and 2, it's on the right mode. Mario mode, Zelda mode, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Animal Crossing all have different color combinations, which you can find during the setup and on their website or their YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out and make sure you set this up properly. So now we actually have enough eggs. We have this hatched. And what I do is I go ahead and I already got a spare egg. I'm going to put that, and just for good measure, where are you? Decent. Just for good measure, I put it at the bottom because when you start this, when it grabs an egg, it's going to start at the top and then work its way down and then go back up to the second slot. So if you ever have to pause this, if you want to check on it and see how it's going, you want to always make sure you move your eggs down to the bottom. That way you give them time to hatch. So now I'm going to go ahead and start this cycle. So I'm going to get off my bike. It's important that you get off the bike because the macro commands put you on a bike to begin with. And you also don't want to be connected to the online because you might accidentally talk to someone else hatching an egg. So here I am going to do the shiny egg. So that's going to be the minus button and left on the D-pad. Now on here, since the button's different, it's still the button, the menu button on the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this down, feel it vibrate, and then hit left. And it's going to go through the settings and it's going to make sure all the settings are set up the right way, which mine have already been set. And then it's going to always fly to back to the daycare between the cycles. So it will make sure. Now, I know that Skarmory is probably a longer egg hatch, so I'm going to go ahead and hit up on my D-pad twice. Now, every time you hit up, you extend it by 10 seconds. So as you can see, my character's spinning now, and he's going to spin for 10 more seconds extra. Actually 20 because I pressed it twice. So I'm hoping that that's enough to hatch the Skarmory egg. And if not, you can always just turn the function off and start it again and increase it even more. So you want to make sure that each time you go around, before he stops, he hatches the egg. So that's what's important, is that every time you're grabbing an egg, you're hatching it. That way you're not hatching 2 eggs per cycle and messing up the timing, because this is a macro, so it's basing everything off the timing of when things happen. As you can see, my character is spinning and my controller is not being touched on the buttons. So this is all being done through the switch up device. So I could go do some laundry. I can go do the dishes. And that's one thing I really like about this. I'm going to talk while it spins to make sure that the first one lasts long enough. Is that when I first started testing this out, when I did my shiny Rowlet, and there's the egg. So if he keeps spinning, we can turn it down. If he stops, it was perfect timing. So the stop of the spinning is supposed to be while the egg is hatching. So if your player stands there for a long period of time, you can turn it down. And as you can see, I'm still spinning. So I'm going to turn it down 1. And I'm actually going to turn it down 2. I'm going to put it on its regular setting. So the next time he goes around, he won't spin around as much. And there's the stop. This is supposed to be when the egg is hatching, but clearly we let the cycle go on a little longer. Nothing wrong with that because the egg's still hatched, but it's going to take up more time. You're going to waste about like 10 to 20 seconds watching him stand here when he could just be going back and getting the next egg. So I had my niece the weekend I bought this, and I was able to get that shiny Rowlet without being near my device. I was able to just set it up, walk away, spend time with my niece, spend time with my wife, do some cleaning, all while hatching eggs. So as you can see, they're going to add it to the party. And they're going to choose the second slot. They're going to send the Skarmory to the box. And then he's going to fly back to the starting position in the wild area. And then go to back to egg hatching. For me, this really isn't a shiny hunting feature. I mean, it's nice that you can cut down the encounter times and the egg hatching that you're doing. But for me, when it comes to the shinies, I want to actually earn them. Like, I want to be the one who actually hatches the egg. Yes, I've gotten a shiny Rowlet. Yes, I've gotten a shiny Wooloo using this device, but it doesn't really feel like I got them because I didn't earn them. How people feel about shinies is different for everyone, so some people might just be okay with getting a shiny no matter how they get it. Me, on the other hand, if I'm doing the egg hatching or if I'm doing soft resets, I want to do it myself personally, so I don't know how I feel about using this as just a way to complete your shiny collection. But let me know how you feel about that in the comments down below. I'd love to have a discussion about this, but as you can see, it's already moved on to hatching the next egg, and like I said, I could walk away, and this is going to continue to move on and on and on. So I let this guy go for about 20 minutes on its own, and let's see how much we got. So as you can see, I've gotten about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you factor in that I hatched a couple myself, I did have to tweak the time because there was moments where I was standing around. So I got it down pat around the halfway mark. So I probably could have gone at least 10. So you're getting you're getting a Pokemon about every like 2 minutes with a regular egg rate. But as you can see, what you want to look for is one that has good stats. And over time, just like with shiny odds, you'll get one eventually with good IVs. So this one right here, we got a 5-eyed Veed with special attack being the lowest, and that's the one that doesn't matter in Skarmory, and it has the sturdy ability. So I would have to say that this Skarmory is one of the better ones. Now, like I said before, I'm not really using this as a method of shiny hunting, rather using it as a way to do breeding when I don't have the time to. So my point is now that I'm back to work as a school teacher and doing online learning, my time is very critical. I've just been trying to cut videos as quick as possible and just been trying my best to make content for everyone. So I hope everyone's been enjoying it. But when it comes to the breeding, there's a lot of things that just take time that I don't have at the moment. I'm seeing this as time to save when I could be doing other things around the house and stuff where I just need to hatch eggs. So what I was looking for is a Magnemite with analytic with 0 speed, and I was able, with this device, I was able to get it eventually. Where is it at? It is over here. So I was able to get this Magnemite this Magnezone eventually from a Magnemite egg, but I needed to just keep rolling the stats until I got a 0 speed because I didn't have a hidden ability Magnemite to pass it on. So once I was able to get one, I actually ended up getting 2. I was able to do that, and I did that through this little thing. As you can see, I got 3 6-eyed Vs, 1 5-eyed V, but I needed a 0 speed. So what I did is I basically just sat there and let it roll eggs until I got the one I wanted. Now, as you can see, I got about 2 boxes of Breedjects that I don't need and don't want. So what I can do here is I can do the box release. So you want to do minus and down. So on, it's going to be this button, minus and down. And I'm going to hit left and then confirm it. So what it's going to do now, it's going to go all the way over. And as you can see, that's what happens when you hit the wrong button. Okay. So to max release in boxes, you want to hit minus, down, and then you want to go over and select the boxes and hit the A button. It's going to go over to the box, going to go over to the very end, and it's going to start mass releasing. Now, whatever boxes you scan while it's in the mode, while it vibrates, is going to release. So if you're not paying attention, you're not doing the right thing, you're going to end up releasing a box of Pokemon you don't want to release. So you want to always make sure that when you're releasing, you kind of want to pay attention, and you can always hit the B or the select button, the minus button, to stop the process. And as we can see, it's just gone through and it's deleting all these Pokemon I don't want, which is awesome if you're doing the mass breeding, especially if you let it sit for a while. If you let it sit for a couple hours, you're going to end up with 3 or 4 boxes of Pokemon that are going to be Breedjects, essentially. So overall, this is not faster than breeding yourself. Of course, I can breed more than 10. I can hatch more than 10 eggs in 20 minutes. But the fact of the matter is that I can have this set up while doing other things around the house. And that's what's important to me, is that when I'm just rolling for a certain stat and ability that I need, I don't have to sit around and just stare at the screen collecting eggs. And another thing that really helps is this can help prevent Joy-Con drift. So if you're spinning around hatching eggs a lot on your Joy-Cons, I went through 2 pairs of Joy-Cons doing that in like 2 months. So doing it this way actually helps prevent you wearing down your Joy-Cons unnecessarily. Now, I'm not planning on doing this too much on my primary Switch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the setup that I chose to do as soon as it's done going through this box. I really like this. As someone who has done shiny hunts for the starters and for other Pokemon, like Tyranitar, for someone who does have to breed competitive Pokemon for the Players Cup 2 qualifier, I needed a 6 IV Intimidate Incineroar. So I basically had to sit here and keep hatching Litten eggs until I got a 6 IV with Intimidate. And with this device, I could have set it up and walked away from it and waited until I got one with the device, and I wouldn't have had to sit there and hatch eggs for almost 2 hours. I hatched eggs for that Litten that I needed for the tournament, where I could have done other things with this device. So that's how I'm going to use it. If I want to shiny hunt a Pokemon, if I want that Pokemon shiny enough where I'm going to go after it with a shiny hunt, then I'm not going to use this device. I want to earn that myself. But like I said, let me know how you feel in the comments below about how you feel about using this device to shiny hunt, because it's definitely like an iffy thing for me. I have used it to get shinies, and it vibrated, so it's done. So let's check out how I plan on doing most of my breeding with this device. Okay, so this is usually how my Switch Lite sits when it's not in use. It's in the one little mini charging stand because I didn't want to leave the Switch. I want it laying on the ground. I actually wanted to have some presentation when it's not in use. So what I have gotten before, I had this before I bought the Switch thing, but this is the Hori charging stand, travel stand. And what I really like about this is that it has the USB Type-C for charging, and then it has 4 USB ports. So this is definitely going to fit what we need. So what I'll do is I'll put my Switch Lite in here instead of the little mini charging stand, and I will plug it in so it can sit on power. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Xbox controller and the Switch up and just plug it in to the travel stand. Make sure it's in the correct mode and go ahead and boot my Switch on. It's going to tell me it can't connect online. Oh, nope. So what I have is, this is where I did my Wooloo hunt. I let this sit overnight, and I actually started doing an Impidimp because I thought about testing it on here. So it's gone through the first 5 eggs. I have the initial setup just like I did before. So what I can do now is I can make sure I'm off my bike and do the start button. It turned off of Pokemon Sword and Shield mode when I turned on my Switch. Go into the mode and hit left. And once again, it's going to go through the same process. So now my primary Switch isn't even in use. This is my secondary Switch. So I can let this sit here while I'm doing work, while I'm recording another video, while I'm doing almost anything. And it's going to sit here and it's going to hatch eggs for me. So if I needed a competitive Grimmsnarl and I wanted certain stats, all I would have to do is move the Pokemon over here to my secondary Switch and set up the breeding. Now I know not everyone's going to have that luxury of having a secondary Switch, but this is still something, this is the kind of setup that you can have, whether it's a TV or a charging stand, where you can hatch eggs without having to be here. You do need room in your boxes. I am very short on boxes on my primary Switch, but this one has a lot more free. So I'm choosing to do this one rather than on my primary Switch. And that way, if I need to just get breeding done on here, I can do so. Okay, so that is the Switch Up adapter, Bluetooth adapter. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. It basically comes down to, Is the Pokemon you want to get worth your time? Do you want to spend the time setting this up? Do you want to spend the $20, $25 you can pick this up for and just get the breeding done for you? How much are shinies worth to you? These are all conversations that people may agree with, people may disagree with, but I want to have these conversations in the comments down below. Would you think of picking one of these up if it could save you time on hunting for competitive Pokemon or hunting for shinies? Or could you just use it to farm watts in the game, which could help you as well? Let me know down in the comments below. But anyways, I'm Zach. If you made it this far in the video, I want to say thanks for watching. And also, do not forget to like and subscribe. We've hit over 200 subs, and Crown Tundra is coming soon. So I do plan on doing Crown Tundra stuff. I plan on doing Series 7 stuff, which will be really awesome because now if I need a non-legendary Pokemon bred, I can use this to save myself some time. Anyways, I'm Zach, and I will see you in the next one.